Hi, this is Munya Scripts. I love you all. Thanks for watching my videos. Today we are going to be looking at how to create photo slides in Premiere Pro. Okay, so are you out there? I know some of us have wonderful smartphones that are basically good and are having wonderful cameras whereby we can happen to take some pictures and we want to make a slide video out of them. Maybe we attended a function, maybe we attended a wedding, maybe we attended anything of our own choice, maybe a church or maybe work, or you want to surprise that person that you love with something incredibly special. So you opt out to make a photo slide out of those images. So what do you have to put in mind, and what do you have to consider when making that video? So here is this video that is going to teach you all of that, how to do it, how to export, and how to come up with a wonderful video that would help you present something a wonderful way, the best way. So here we go. Remember, everything on this channel, Munya Scripts Lifestyle, is basically free. Remember to subscribe and like or leave a comment. So what do we have to do? This is Premiere Pro, that is 2019. It is the Premiere Pro I'm going to be using to make our photo slide. So don't mind, I'm not going to be using any plugins that do not come with this software. So if at all you have an older version like CS6 CC 2017, 18 up to 19, so we can all do the same thing and we have the best result. Okay, so we start now. So what we have to do, we have to look for where we have our pictures. Okay, so you look for your pictures on your phone or on, basically it can be your phone, and then you happen to go and save them on your computer. Okay, so we go and look for those, and we look for those photos where we have them. So I try to go to my downloads and see if at all I have some photos. Yes, I have these photos. But what do I want you to see? Before you carry out any editing, remember, if you have so far taken my course, that is basically to teach you animation, sorry about that. That is basically to teach you graphics designing. Remember, we talked of something that is portrait and landscape. So what is portrait and what is landscape? So if I happen to have a photo like this one, then look at this one. So all these photos that you are happening to see here were basically downloaded from a free site, that is pixel.com. So with that site, you can happen to download free videos and free you can happen to download free photos and free videos. So I happen to download these pictures that we can happen to use in our software. So I was talking of a portrait and landscape. So this is landscape and this is portrait. Okay, so these are two different ways how our design can be portrayed out there. So with landscape, it is more like if at all you happen to look at your computer screen or a TV set, it is basically where we find that, are you seeing, where we find that the width is longer than the height. Then with portrait, it is where we find that the height, so the height we are talking of the vertical the vertical length. So the vertical length is higher than the horizontal length. That is when we happen to have a portrait design. So now when we are dealing with pictures, I understand that you may have taken them unknowingly, that what is this called and that called. Okay, but why we've made this is for you to understand. So if I told you this is my landscape and this is my portrait, so it is rare to find that we are like going to like find out, do we want to like upload our video as a YouTube short? Because with the YouTube short, it is going to be having something that is basically portrait. But if at all we are like uploading that on Facebook, on YouTube, because most of the people are going to be playing that video on a landscape format devices, it means that we would go for a portrait, landscape format. So what do we do if at all we have these two? So in the photos that we are wanting to edit, we have landscape photos and we have portrait photos, and we want to create a photo slide. So what we do is we get this, and what else determines that? Before you like import those pictures inside, because there are situations where you're going to find that you are going to be designing that video or photo slide that you want to create with some instrumental behind, and besides the instrumental that is basically behind, you are going to be designing this video, okay, using photos that were taken by different cameras. You may find that maybe you used a certain camera that has a high resolution photo, then at the end of the day you used another smaller camera with a poor image. So what do you do? So we consider which quality do we want, then how many photos are we having for each camera, and what photos do we want to be our main like photos. Okay, those photos that are going to be delaying or given more, that are to be given more time on the screen. So then what we have to do, we drag this photo. Let's say this is the photo, then we drag it and just bring it near this icon of Premiere Pro. I guess you have already installed Premiere Pro. Then after, we release it inside. Okay, so it has been imported. So if you are not cool with using that method, you can come here from edit and say undo. Then what you do, you double click here. Then from after double clicking there, then you go to your downloads, because within the downloads, that is where all our photos are located. Then after going to the downloads, that is when you click on the downloads, then you happen to select the photo of your own choice from the photos that you have already downloaded. So we said before that we may use a landscape photo at the start, because we are basically going to be uploading this video on YouTube. We are designing something that is to be maybe played for someone on the birthday party, as our memory lane, showing the different photos, showing where we have come from, all that. So what we do, we select this landscape photo like that, then we click open. Okay, so besides also double clicking there, we can say undo, or we can come here on file. Then from coming to file, we click import. So after clicking import, we click on the image. Okay, then we say open. So there are some image formats that cannot be imported inside. Say someone has sent you an image on WhatsApp, and that image wasn't sent as a document. With some WhatsApp versions, it refuses to like import inside. So endeavor to see that when it refuses, don't force it, because you'll end up either crashing the software or crashing your computer. So what you do, you tell that person to send it to you again in a document in a document format. Okay, so after receiving it, you import it into your software. So let us try to remember we say let us try to start editing. Remember we said that with this photo, Okay, after importing your first photo, there is what we call setting sequence settings. So what settings, what video resolutions or video size do we want our video to have? Okay, that matters also. And we should also consider, if at all, which like the size of the, what was the resolution of the photos we took, or the size of the photos we took. Remember, with the video it is 1920 1080, that is full HD video. So if at all you know that in mind, it means that if we try to check the properties of this photo, okay, the properties of this photo, so if we are to check the properties of this photo, because never mind if at all the video is a little bit long, sorry, but what I want you to do is to understand the concept, okay? Because yes, we have used some photos that are not coordinating, maybe that they are flowing in a sequence, like maybe a wedding where we shall have shoes, then from the shoes we have the makeup of the, like, the bride. Then no, we are, I want you to just understand the mechanism of you of working with photos to create a slide video, a photo slide video in a Premiere Pro. So are you seeing this? If we try to go to the details, okay, this is the size of the video. Are you seeing that? I mean, not the video, but the image. Okay, are you seeing this? The resolution is okay, but this size, okay, that is what we should consider. So with that, that is a smaller size that wouldn't favor us. It wouldn't give us something of good quality. So we go back and try to look at the second photo, its resolution. Are you seeing almost the same? Was it the same? I didn't look at it carefully. Let me first go back and see. Okay, properties. No, it isn't the same. So basically, this is landscape, this is portrait. Okay, but what do we want? We want to create a video that has both of them, but we want to give it a certain level. Okay, let us first go back to our Premiere Pro. So are you seeing this? So that is our sequence. This is our sequence, and here would be our timeline. So if at all we want to create our design in a landscape format, that is to adapt, if we want it to adapt the quality of this photo, okay, if we want it to adapt the quality of this photo, so what we have to do is we just hold it, then drag it and drop it into this icon. What is the name of this icon? It says new item. Okay, so when we happen to drop it inside, it creates a new sequence that has the settings that are basically the same as those of a photo. So if we happen to drag it and then drop it there, are you seeing that? So they're like the composition or the screen takes the height and width of basically the what? The photo. Okay, but if we happen not to want to have this, so what do we do and how do we forego it? To keep everything simple and everything like understood by everyone, what we do, we may visit internet. Remember, I told you that whenever you are working with graphics, endeavor to see at least you have internet, because the world that you serve, the world that you are basically joining, has, it's like, it is always changing. So you may think that maybe we are still on maybe 4K, then after 2 months, after a week, you hear that people have already advanced and now on 8K. So you have to always work with internet, you have to be researchful, you have to like utilize every resource. And that is possible if at all you happen to have internet, or as when you're working on a certain project, endeavor to see that. So we try to go. So to keep it a little bit more simple, what we would do is we go to where we have our pictures and see if at all we can happen to get a picture that has the resolutions that we want. Okay, you can even go to pixel, then you happen to download a picture that gives you that resolution that you want. So this is already a 4K what? A 4K what? Height and width. Okay, so I'm going to be using this photo to set the composition that would be a little bit professional and something very what? Attractive. So what I do, I get this picture. Let me first go back and check its properties. Is it one of them? Yes. So you can download any picture, because you can even visit Google and say 4K, download free 4K image. When you happen to download it, or a full HD image, when you happen to download it, you just get it, drag it, use the other option, then place it there. So after placing it there, now you click and hold, then drag it and drop it in that new item icon. So the moment you drop it there, it adopts the resolution of the new item that we have what? Imported. Okay, so after importing it, now in Premiere Pro we have two, like in the sequence. So we can remove this by just clicking that X. So in Premiere Pro we have two. In the sequence we have where we have the audio, where we place our audio, then where we place our what? Videos, and we place them going upwards. Then below is where we place our audios. So if at all we are editing, what you should understand with like, before maybe I go there, after importing this first photo, I only drop there the first photo to be imported. That photo that I want to like use on setting the resolution, because on the photos that we want to import, we don't need this. It is not that photo that is needed to set the resolution, but to set the height and the width of our composition. So we've just used the photo, but it wasn't part of the photos that we wanted to use. So after that, we delete it. So these other photos that we want to import, because they are of a smaller length and width, or they can happen to be of a bigger length and width. Okay, so what now we do, we can scale them down. Are you seeing that? This is opacity. I've just touched opacity. So we go to motion. Okay, are you seeing that? So there are some values that we are basically going to be dealing with after deleting the other image that we used to set the composition settings. Now we have this other one. Okay, this is what we are having now. We've placed it inside. So we want to like create a photo slide. So what is next after importing our picture? Before we do that, next, remember this thing, that you only drop, for each project that you're working on, you only drop that image or video that you want to be using to set the composition length and width. I mean, the composition height and width. After using it, don't again drop any picture or any video that is to be used in this project that you're working on into this new item icon. Okay, so now if we are to import some other pictures that we are to be using in this project, say these. Okay, so if I happen to select them like that, it is me who chooses. Can I just import them here, and I first drop them into my project what? Manager space. So they are imported. Are you seeing all of them have been imported? So I can first drop them that side, or even Ctrl Z and just go, okay, because they already selected. Click and hold, then point on Premiere Pro, then just come straight to the composition. The moment I point just here above in the videos, so these pictures are like showed, and then I release it. There's that method, or even just Ctrl Z to undo. Or what I do, I go to File, then from File I click Import. So then from clicking Import, what I do is I go where my pictures are basically located. If I told you, because I'm using Windows 10, so if at all you're using Windows 10 and you're confused on how to locate your pictures, you can come to File, and then it displays the different hard drives where you may have saved your pictures. Then mine are basically in the downloads, so I just come there in the downloads, then click on the first one, and then hold the shift and click where I want to stop, like that. Then after I click Import. So there is that method also. So it depends on you which method has been simpler for you, has happened to be simpler for you to use. Excuse me. So now, like, after getting those images, we can, before we deselect them, we can click on them, hold them and drag, then we bring them to a sequence or to the timeline that we set. Okay, now we've finished importing the pictures to our timeline, but we haven't yet started editing them. Okay, we have imported them to the software. From importing them into the software, we've imported pictures into the software, we've placed them onto the timeline. So what is next? So what we have to do next is to import in the audio that we are going to be basically using. So now what we do is we go out and find some audio. So there are a lot of sites whereby you can happen to get free audio, but this audio was basically got from YouTube library. That is where I downloaded this audio that I'm to be using here. So with YouTube library, you are given some free free instrumentals that you can happen to use. So I downloaded them and they are in music. So say let me try to play something here. So I listen and happen to choose a song that would favor me, okay, or that would favor my project, that song that I would need. So I'm looking for a song that is going to be favoring me, work on this project the best way, and achieve what I would want to be achieving out of it. So it depends on you. So with YouTube library, you can happen to select, do you want to have hip hop instrumentals, reggae instrumentals, cinematic instrumentals? What feel do you want? Do you want a sad feel? Do you want a happy feel? And some other different genres that you would want to like have. But with those, you can happen to place your video on YouTube without facing any strikes or any takedowns. So Now we continue. So with this catalog, I'm trying to find out which one would work for me better. Let me use this hip hop beat. So I just drag it. You can happen to drag it and drop it here into your project manager. Okay. So after dropping it there, then from there you click, hold and drag it to your timeline. Remember, if I try to drag this up, because the upper part, as you see it here, is V2, V1. So it means video 1, video 2, video 3. Then the downer part is basically for audio. That is why you see audio 1, audio 2, audio 3. So audio can never be put up in these that are basically having video 1, video 2, video 3. And with video or images can never be put on these other panels that are basically having A1, A2, A3. So once you grasp that, then you have it all. Then another thing that I would love to tell you is, if at all I'm editing in Premiere Pro, then I happen, and I want you to like understand this, the use of these layers. So say I'm editing. So this is my project. So let me say this is my project. Delete. So I want it to start from here. Then what I do, I select this audio, then come here. So I first duplicate it before I add some keyframing in it, because I may happen to want to duplicate it, yet I've already affected it somehow, somewhere. So what I do is I duplicate it. I've duplicated it by selecting it. Then after selecting it, I clicked on Alt, then I holded Alt. Then after doing that, I left clicked on the mouse, then drag it in the sides, or you can drag it below as I've done here. So it has already created a copy. So what do you release first? Because if you try to like release the mouse, let me show you. So if I click and select it, but make sure that when you are selecting the audio, you are not in a laser, you are not in any other tool but this selection tool, because all these different tools happen to do different stuff. So you have to make sure that you have already selected the selection tool. So now what you do, you select this. Okay. So after selecting it, you drag it towards the end, because I want it to start immediately. The moment I play this, so I want it to start immediately, okay? But I want it to start with a level whereby, as anything, it starts at a low volume, then it graduates to a bigger what? Volume. So at this level, after selecting it, I move it to where I want the full volume to come in. Then I sing. So that is where I want that full volume to come in from. So what I do, I select the audio. Then from selecting audio, after selecting my audio, I go to this section here. If I told you are not seeing this section is basically if referred to as effects control. So if I told you are not seeing it, first go here. Okay, here, that is the menu, like the menu bar, where you are going to be choosing the different options with workspaces. So what I didn't tell you about Premiere Pro and any designing program that is basically under Adobe suite. So with those, you can happen to like distort these panels the way you want. Okay, you can unplug them, close them. Okay, close them. You can close that because we don't need it. You can also undock them if at all you want to undock it. Okay, so after undocking it, you can place it somewhere. Let us undock it. So are you seeing? So it is like another window from the main software. Then we click and drag it and look for where we could, maybe if we want to. So if at all we want, we can close it. Say, let me get this, undock it. So we get it here. Are you seeing? So we can happen to place it anywhere where we want. Are you seeing? So we've placed what was the other side where we are. So if at all we like don't want it to be this side, we can increase it like that, then come and close it. So after closing it, we may happen to use our software as it is right now. So we have only panels that are basically necessary for our projects that we are basically working on. But besides that, if at all we happen to want them again to come back, so we may happen to choose to like go to workspace, window, workspace. Then from workspace, remember we are in editing as it is selected here. Then if we want to restore how it looked like before, or how it was installed from the manufacturers. Okay, so what we do, we just come down and say reset to save the layout. So it will go back to the default page like software layout that was set by the Adobe creators. Say if you happen to save your customized what? You customize the page layout. Maybe you want it to display like that, but you're in need of some window that you are not basically seeing. So you go to window, then you come and select what you want. Maybe I want the audio track mixer. Are you seeing it wasn't there? So if I click and select it, are you seeing? So it has been brought. Okay, so that is what I was trying to mean, that with that, at least you can happen to select what you want, how you want it to be. Okay, you can like happen to move it where you want it to be, or you want it to be. So that is it with what? With Adobe softwares. So back to our topic basically of creating the photo slide. Remember we said that we get this to decrease the audio. So we close this because we don't want it now. So we close that panel. So now what we do after selecting this is the normal. So you go to volume, then from volume you click that arrow. Are you seeing? Then are you seeing where we have levels? So when you open your software, it is going to be like that. So you click here, you go to levels. Okay, so the level of our audio, so you make sure that it is at 0. So it is at 0, then you toggle animate it by clicking that. So by default, these had been already what? The toggle animation icons had already been like clicked by default, but they had no any effect. So the moment you try to tamper with them, so you're already creating something. So we don't want that for now. Okay, so we don't want that for now. So now what we do, we select and click that. So we've locked it at what? At 0. So it means that that is the original what? Sound where we want it to be. But at the start, so we want to reduce the volume of this audio at the start. So what we do after clicking that, so we've created a point there. So what we do, we click this current counter, then we bring it towards the start, the total start. Then we come here and reduce this. We can just bring our cursor here, pointing in the selection tool. Okay, selection tool, we point here, then make sure that this part here is not moving. The current, this tool here is not moving. So now we reduce this to the volume that is incredibly 0. So it is going to start at nothing. So why is it raising its voice at a higher speed? Because the space that was left is too little. So we bring it there, then we move this to at least there, and we see we want to have that feel. So it starts slowly, like it starts at a low volume, then the volume raises back to the original volume. So then after, what we do is we get this photo that we are basically creating, because remember we want to like create a photo slide. So what we do, we've selected the photo that we want to affect. Okay, then we come back here and click on position. At its start, we click on position and scale. Okay, sorry, that may confuse you. It needs someone who is a little bit already used with the software. Let us try to go a little bit in the middle or somewhere from the original position of the image, from the original start of the image. So we are ignoring this part. Then we move our current counter somewhere here, like that. Okay, then after moving it there, so what we do, we click on our scale plus position. Okay, then we move it just slightly, okay, in front. Then we try to scale this, then move it a little bit up. Okay, so we've already now created something, but it starts in the middle. Okay, are you seeing that? And it moves at a high speed. So what we do is select this. Remember, here we are basically using more of the selection tool. So with the selection tool, you click, hold, then drag and select these two. Then you move them behind. Okay, so when you move them behind, then after you click play. Are you seeing? But it is still at a high speed. So what we do, we select these in front ones and drag them in front. Then we move our cursor to the back. Okay, are you seeing? So our slides are now coming out. But remember, we have to keep them more than slow, because if these slides are basically running at a higher speed, they are not all that interesting. Or it also depends on the instrumental that you have used, and which information are you portraying out. Are you seeing that? So that is it basically. Now after, like, we can just do that, extend them. So I'm using this extension, like when I happen to get my selection tool, then I move it towards the end of an image bar, so it like changes to this. So if it changes to this icon, look at my mouse, this icon excuse me, this icon, it basically means that you can either increase its length or decrease its length. So I don't want to retain this, because I don't want it to be still at any point. Okay, so just after slightly those points, I drag it off. So the moment I start playing it, it starts moving automatically, immediately. So are you seeing that? So with that, now it comes to our second image. So we've created this and it is completely filling our screen. Okay, so we don't need anything besides that. So then we continue. So we happen to get to our new what? Our new photo. Remember what we did? When we select these photos, because we are having photos with different length and height. So the moment they are imported into the software, we have to first either scale them a little bit down. Besides even scaling them a little bit down, we move their positions, because the instrument this lady is holding is a little bit key. So let's say this is her image. Okay, but if at all you are looking at it carefully, we are having some spaces left out. So we can think of a design. Maybe we scale it a little bit more, but before we do that, we are going to duplicate it. That is, remember we said to duplicate a layer, we first select the layer, then we click Alt, then with our selection tool selected, we click, hold and drag. So I'm holding both Alt and what? And click. I'm holding Alt, then I click and drag. So when it comes to releasing that duplicate I've created, what I do is I release the mouse first. Okay, like that. Then lastly, Alt. So with this back layer, I'm going to increase its size to fill up the whole screen. Are you seeing that? Then for the upper one, what I'm going to do, I'm going to scale it down, like somewhere there. So then I go back and remember I start somewhere like there. Then I click on position and scale. Okay, then besides that, I move it. So I want to be monitoring it here in the effects control. So I come back here, I move it just a little bit in front of the first points of the original points, because it marks the original position. Then I scale it like that, then move its position just a little. Then I now select these, move them forward, and these ones move them back. Now if I try to play it, so they're a little bit heavier and my computer isn't responding very well, but I think you get the idea. You seeing it is increasing a little bit slowly by slowly. So what we do is we select this, then make sure that we move this, because we don't want it to be still at any point. So we are like cutting it before it reaches those points where motion stops and starts. So now we remain with the layer in between the start and the end. So then we select this last one, then we click here to obtain our effects. We click here and go to effects. Okay, so when we go to effects, what we want is to create something blurry at the back. So something that is a little bit faded to make our composition look a little bit different. So what we do, we come there and put in first. So we want first bra, okay, or Gaussian bra. So we can happen to get this. Then if we drop it, first bra, then we come to the effects control. Excuse me, I'm having some cough, but let us continue. So are you seeing? So the moment I want you to look at this image and how this effect is affecting it. So the layer is selected, the plugin is applied, so we are increasing the effectiveness of the what? Of the plugin. The moment we start increasing these numbers, So the response is a little bit down. Are you seeing that? So the moment we start increasing that number, the one in the back fades. Okay? So are you seeing? So now, yes, it has faded, but it is too rough. Okay? Okay? So the edges are basically too rough. So if we happen to go to the same effects and look for something like edge, okay? So we want this feather what? Edges. So after dropping it into that layer, no, we don't want it on the downer layer, so we want it on the upper layer because it is this layer that we animated that is a little bit rough. So after applying it, has it gone on? Not yet. Not yet. So we get it and drop it. Are you seeing? So now it has gone there. So then after we increase it and see its effect. So basically this is something that is a little bit heavy to my computer because I'm recording as I'm editing this. So if I try to play it, so at least you see from the other edges that we were having, at least we are having something that is a little bit fading inside. Okay, so it is fading into the background what layer as you see it. Look at these edges, or you can even also try it on your computer if at all you are following me what I'm doing on any image. So if I happen to like switch it off, what happens? So edge feather is off. So let us try to play this. So are you seeing? So at least now we can see the original image, how it looked like. So it is too rough. So if we just click that and put our effect on again. So this is something that is making the edges a little bit fade in. Are you seeing that? Are you seeing that we are having now something that is a little bit different? So that is what I want us to do. Then from there we'll look at maybe putting on some text. So with the text, what you do, let it first come. So with the text, what you do, this icon here in Premiere Pro represents what? Text, okay, or type tool. So, and whenever you see an item, an icon in any editing software that has an arrow pointing down, it basically means that it isn't only that tool that is inside. Yes, it is that tool, but it has different what? Options, So you should always grasp that whenever you come to use a certain software. So if we delete this, we don't want it. So now what we do, we go back and choose our text tool. So they are giving us two options. We have the type tool, whereby if at all I'm typing, I just click where I want to type, then choose. If at all I want it to be caps, then start typing. Then after doing my typing, it is having a slow response. After doing my typing, I go back and select the selection tool, then try to move around that text. Are you seeing that it is texting in the x-axis, horizontal what? Direction. So if at all we go back here, in our text tool, it is the type tool. But if we happen to have this vertical type tool, and we click, so it is going to be texting everything vertically. Okay, so are you seeing that? So whatever I did text was applied what? Vertically. Are you seeing this? So it is going downwards. So that is not what I want. So I Ctrl Z, or I click undo. So after that, this is the text I want. So are you seeing that text? So I go back, get my type tool, then text tool, and select the type tool. I click inside this word. Are you seeing that? Then I click Ctrl A, and it selects everything inside it. Undo. So after selecting all of them, I say maybe happy happy birthday, dear. So I've done that texting. So why you are not seeing everything happening at the real time? So it is a little bit becoming heavy because I'm recording as I'm like teaching you people on how to do it. So that is why my computer response is a little bit slow. So after doing that, we can happen to go back and get our text tool, then do that, click in the word, and let me first try to scale it a little bit up so that you can see it. So what I do, I click in that word with my text tool selected. Okay. So remember I told you that we can drag this and place it anywhere where we want it. So we've dragged it from down to here up, so that we can at least see it properly. So we get this, click. Are you seeing this? But if you try to click in the text that you created with the selection tool, it means that you are basically either going to be increasing its height or width, as you see how I've affected it here. I don't know why my computer is a little bit more than slow. So we undo that and come back, then select it, Ctrl A. But that works after having placed so we Ctrl A, then from there we go text, okay, here. So now we try to play around with the fonts. Okay, this is like how the styles, how your typefaces appear. Okay, your typefaces appear. So if we want it to like appear like that, so we choose that. Okay, but it isn't responding at a high speed. So you could opt for any. Are you seeing that? Then if you don't love it, so you go back, get your selection, your type tool, then click in it and go and click in the text. So we missed out Y here, somewhere here. So we put it, then we leave some space. So it isn't responding in real time. So I'm stopping it soon because it is becoming a little bit heavier and it isn't responding in real time. So what we do is we click our Ctrl A again. I want to have something that gives us bigger bold fonts. Then we click Arial. Then we choose black. Let us see its effect. Then after that, we get our selection tool. Then after, we go there and so in our selection tool, we can click on the word, then drag it anywhere of our choice, or we can even also use here this effects control panel. After selecting our text, we can go to motion. Okay, then we move it. Let us first wait for it to load. So we move it to are you seeing that? To positions of our own choice. So let us wait for it to do what? To move a little bit, and you happen to see. Have you seen that? Then this moves it in the x-axis, either left or right. So that is what you do when you are creating photo slides. You just play with the scale, then embedding there some music and putting some plugin like that one. That is, this plugin you can get it in any, like beginning from CS6 you can get your edge feather, and they all have a scale whereby you just play around with the scale and position, whether you're starting it from bigness to smallness or starting it from smallness to bigness, then blurring the background with some effect that is a little bit, that is fast and blur. You can even use Gaussian blur depending on your choice and what you want and the strength of your computer. Okay, so then after, like if I told you are now contented with your design, then now let us shorten this. Okay, then remove these. So we select all of these ones that we have not used, then press delete. Select this, delete. Okay, then also this, select them and delete. So we move our cursor towards the audio, then towards the end we point on it and scale it. Push it down, not scaling it. Push it down to reduce its distance or length. So now we are like contented with this. That is so far what we want. Then on this second picture, are you seeing that these pictures were varying? This one is too small, eh? So now what we do after selecting it, we scale it. Are you seeing that? We can also use the other method that we used after scaling it. That is the first one. Hold shift to move it properly. Then to drag it, you click on this one and hold alt, then drag it down. Okay, then after you scale it as we did the second for the second image. Are you seeing that? Then after, now instead of going back inside the transitions and video effects and stuff, so we just click in this down one on the second layer, then we go to our control panel as you see my cursor. So we get this, we select that fast and blur, we go to edit, then copy, then we go select this, then after we right click here and say paste. So we just hold on a little moment. Are you seeing? So we first remove the eye of this so that we can at least see the back. Are you seeing? But with this, since it is too little, its resolution is a little bit poor. Too much fast and blur affects it widely, so we are like going to be reducing it a little. Are you seeing that? Because it was of a poor resolution, eh? So okay, then we release this again. Then we go to this upper one. from the second one, then select our settings that are edge feather, then Ctrl C to copy it. Then we come to the option, right click and say paste. Has it created any effort? So has our feather created any difference? So I'm not yet seeing that feather difference. That is too much. Maybe because of the bra in the background is also too much. So let us try to decrease this to something like 13. Okay. So feather edges also. So that is it basically. Then after like getting contented maybe towards this end, you would want this audio to fade in a little bit, then put some transitions at the end. So with some video transitions, we come to effects, we come to where we have our project manager, then look for these arrows. Then after there, we go to effects and boom, there. So we now click here, then get this cross dissolve, put it towards the end, then also put it towards the what? The end. Then select our audio, okay? Then just go here and click on this, okay? Add or remove a key. Once you click it once, the moment you click it the second time, it will go off. So click it once, then don't change anything. Move towards the end, then change this, drag this side to make it to a 0. Then when it comes, so it means that audio is going to be playing and goes down towards the end of the video. Let us extend it a little bit in front, okay, like that. So then we look at our text that is happy birthday. So we go for a transition that fades it away also. And when it is coming, we go to a transition that is cross dissolve again. Are you seeing that? So, and it also dissolves. Yes. Have you seen that? In a simple way. Are you seeing that? Then it disappears. Then after what you do, you make sure that you're at the end where basically you want to exactly stop when this video happens to be played on social media, on TVs, on whatever, where you're going to play it. Then you also come this side and click that. So what we are to be exporting is in the middle, okay, of these two brackets that we've created. Then after I click here, then turn it back to full resolution, because we made a quarter resolution to make it easier with these heavy images, to make it a little bit heavier, easier for us to edit without any complications of having a slow machine. That is it basically. So if we happen to go back, there are some times where you are going to find that these icons are not appearing. Let me see. When it is over squeezed like that, okay, so those icons are not appearing. So what you do, you select the selection tool, then you come and move. Are you seeing the point arrow turns to a certain icon as you see it there? Then you drag like that, so some other tools happen to appear here. Then after, you go to file, then go to export, then media, okay, after making sure that your resolution is what? To full, okay. Then after going there, we are basically going to be exporting. I'm going to be showing you the different like the best way to export this out. Okay, it has to, like, the export icon has to pop up. So that is what we are basically going to be doing. I want to show you on how to export our finished project, so that at least we get a video that is basically to play on our phones, on maybe our YouTube channel. Okay. So that is it. Then what I would like you to do is to just leave a comment, leave a thumbs up, and remember, these tutorials are basically free, but if you find that they are basically something that is teaching you something, please consider subscribing to our YouTube channel, give us a like, okay, leave a comment, and remember, you can donate to us through our description section. We have our PayPal account, that is nyenjeisaac, at an email that is nyenjeisaac95@gmail.com. So with that email, you can donate us something to keep this work moving and becoming better. So which format do we have to export? So you keep it at this format, okay? So you keep it at that format. You may find that some happen to go here and change it to QuickTime, okay? Then with QuickTime, we have these different options. So it basically depends on what you want. But professionally, where I would advise you to do is to go and select this format, that is H. Let us go back. That is H264, not H264 Blu-ray. No. So we want this, okay? Then after selecting it, after selecting it, we can happen to come here if we want something. The moment you select here, so you look at the MBs. So mine is a little bit too small because I've only used the 2 images, okay? 3 images to animate this simple face that you see here. Or to create this simple slide that you happen to see. So these are the bytes or the MBs that are basically going to be comprising of the video. So the professional way that you could go for an high quality 2160p 4K, or this one, okay? But since the video I'm uploading, it is just for fun, I'm going to be sharing it with my friends. Basically, it does not need to be of a high amount of MBs. I can go for the phone format. So I go for the mobile device. So I go for this little one, like that. So the moment I select it, are you seeing the MBs? Then from there, I come and give it a name. Okay. Maybe I say photo slide for beginners. Let me hope the spelling is right. Anyway, English is a second language, so don't blame me. So then after that, what we do, so we've given it a name now. So you have to make sure that if at all you want the audio to be also exported with this photo slide, you have to make sure that audio is ticked, okay? And if you want video to be on also, you have to make sure that video is also selected. Then from there, we don't have to tamper with these for now. Then we say export, like that. So it basically starts counting out to see that that video is basically exported. So let us, because it is just a minute, let us wait for it to complete. Then we'll try to play it out and see what have we created. Is it something worthy, something looking nice? So that is it. Please remember to subscribe, leave a comment, remember to share and be part of MUCIAN lifestyle. Remember that we are basically sharing out these tutorials basically for free, but if you find them helpful, donate to us through our PayPal account that is under an email that is listed in the description section to give us some energy to see that we continue giving you some tips in music, some tips in graphics designing, video editing. We continue sharing when I'm shooting music videos, I'm shooting weddings. So let's be part, let's be one, and let's try to show some love and energy, because I believe that this is educating someone out there, equipping someone out there with some information that has been torturing that person, on how to handle it, how to do it. So let us try to play it and see how it looks like. Are you seeing? So are you seeing what the effect of edge feather did? So it is like this hand is dissolving, the edges are roughly dissolving. So these are basically two images: the original image that is at the background blurred, and the image duplicate that was put on the front, and we used edge feather, then we created it. So that was a little bit poor, so we didn't get out that exact touch that we wanted. So but at least we've got to know how to use the text tool. We have gotten to know how to use some effects in Premiere Pro, that is the edge feather and motion blur, whereby we blur the background, we make it a little bit blurry. Then from blurring the background, we also do an edge feather. Then we obtained this, we played around with the audio, and that is it. So it starts with a low volume, it moves to its peaks, it remains constant, then towards the end it reduces. So with that guide, you have to just play around with position and scale. Then from playing with position and scale, then you apply the other effects, and you happen to get something that you duplicate and multiply with 10 photos, 20 photos, like that. So thanks for watching. Thanks for having subscribed. If you have happened to subscribe to this channel, and if you have happened to donate to this channel, we thank you so much for keeping this work moving and keeping it great. Thanks for loving us. We love you. Take care.